Hello, and guess who and what is back? The Furry Raiders podcast. I am Jolt, chief host of the show, and joining me is none other than my co-host, Avira.
Hey everybody, it's me, the Candy Corn Doggo.
Next up, Gil.
Hello.
Everyone.
Hey everyone. That's like my third podcast over here, or was it more?
Oh, don't worry, I keep count. I know how much times you've been on. It's always good to have you on.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here as well.
Absolutely. Next up on the show, Can.
Yo!
Been a while.
Yes!
And first of all, we have a new first-timer on the show, Cross Hyparu. Do informally kind of introduce yourself a little bit and just tell us a little, fun fact about yourself.
Well, I'm Cross Hyparu. Hail from New York originally. Blue Fennec, as you can probably see from my my avatar there. Been in the fandom since it's like April of 2015. Fun fact, I can fly a plane.
Whoa!
So you're a
amazing.
registered pilot.
Yeah, you know how to tell if there's a pilot in the room? Don't worry, we'll tell you.
Wow, that is not something I would ever expect. Fursuit pilots. Well, not fursuit pilots.
Well, not a fursuit pilot, just I don't have a fursuit.
Oh yeah, give it time. You'll get your own.
There actually is a video I saw. It was actually
I
pretty cool.
remember there is
A guy in
yeah.
a guy that it was in fursuit that went skydiving.
Oh, I saw that. That was wild.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you probably just YouTube fursuit skydiver, and I think he's got a video where he sat in the back seat of an aerobatic plane and he was doing like flips and stuff with the pilot up front. I forget what his name is, but it was like a turquoise and like purple color.
Yeah, I know the guy. Yeah, he's into the
fascinating.
extreme sports thingo. But yeah, but a pilot. Oh man. Anyway, just to start things off, I've got a few little surprises. I've been sorry for my extended absence. I've been taking a holiday way over to Hobbitland, aka New Zealand.
Ooh.
Yeah, which explains why I've been so slow on the uptake, the cycle, and why I was absent for the last episode. But enough about that. I do have a good surprise to show you what you're going to be seeing ahead.
Oh, I can't wait. Ooh.
Yes.
Oh, who is that orange doggo? I don't know.
I wonder as well too. Who could that purple squirrel be as well, right?
I know, right?
Oh, I know.
It arrived at my inbox some time ago, and I figured, when I'm back, I might as well show it to you, hey?
Oh, that is so cool.
Now, if only you
Okay.
could find a way to animate that.
Guys, Jolt
I
didn't even tell
wish.
me about this yet.
There are
Like,
multiple
he didn't
ways
even
to do
show
that.
me, like the final thing. I saw it like made like in progress, but I didn't actually see this yet. Oh, this is so cool.
I know, but just so everyone knows, depending on the circumstances, that Neo one isn't going anywhere.
Oh, well, if Neo comes on, we can kind of just alternate them.
Yeah, I mean, we're not replacing Neo. It's just another co-host, another one for the team. Am I right, Jolt?
I know, because Neo's done he's a great job, other than a few little, mishaps you can grill him about. Not,
Oh, yeah,
sorry,
I mean-
Neo, but you know how we roll here. Anyway, shall we get started on the big topic, on the big, the big news?
All right, let's go for it.
Yes. Gillette was the biggest news item of the past couple of weeks. And they did something that was so just horrendously bad.
It was so woke. They're so woke.
Get woke, go
guys.
broke.
Yeah, right.
I personally didn't find it as offensive as people were trying to make it seem to be. I didn't watch it till a couple of days ago, and I kind of let it. Like when it first came out, like everybody was saying, "Oh my god, this." That. I was like, I don't even want to be bothered. Like, leave me alone. I don't care. And I was like, you know what? I might as well just watch it and then see what everybody is up in arms about. And it did. Like when the first 25 seconds of it, I was like, you got to be kidding me! Like this is just gonna paint men in this really bad way. And then probably in the last, I would say 45 seconds, it kind of turned where it showed guys doing these stupid things, but then kind of did that whole men have to take accountability for each other. I mean, we do, there's a time and a place for everything. But then they kind of showed that where the kids were horsing around, the father stepped in, and then they had the thing of Terry Crews on there. And there was a couple of other things. I was like, yeah, you can't really get upset at that, because if you see someone doing something stupid or derogatory, you should step in and tell them, hey, you need to knock it off. So I didn't think it was as bad as everybody was making it. I mean, it definitely sets a tone, especially if it's interpreted the wrong way. But I thought it was just going to be them slandering men, and that was it. But then they kind of turned it around at the end. So that's what I think.
I think it's part of a larger problem of companies that are becoming political. The thing is, this is a company that sells razors.
Right,
and,
indeed.
They're choosing a side at this point, and they're alienating a lot of people. Essentially what they're saying is men are, it's blatantly toxic masculinity. If you look at their video, it has 710,000 likes and 1.2 million dislikes.
Actually, I have it up on my screen right now. It's 23k likes versus 74 dislikes.
They made, the funny part. The funny part is, can I just say that when they basically got ratioed to oblivion and back, they decided to make another one to try and cover their ass. That went so well, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was referring to the original commercial with the 1.2 million dislikes.
Yeah, but
it's definitely a problem that that there's a whole bunch of companies out there that feel the need to do things like this. It just shows how divided we've come as a country, which is obviously a problem. We're not even so much a country, just divided as people, because this is pretty much radiating everywhere.
The thing is, I remember at least a decade ago minimum, this wasn't a thing. People didn't even worry about politics, and now suddenly, boom, everyone worried about politics. Everyone's worried about if you're this or if you're that, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think I'm. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I mean, I'm just a sigh of disappointment of how things are going.
Yeah, I'm kind of cut in here as well and say, yes, this is so disappointing that, Gillette's basically shat on their, core constituents, men who want a shaver. And the fact is it's nothing but virtue signaling, because you can bet any amount of money that they're very insincere about the problems that they're trying to, scream about.
This is going to end up following the same path as what companies are doing against the NRA. I think it was United, American Airlines, Enterprise Rental Car. They all took away the NRA discounts. Some people were up in arms.
Jeez.
Some people were like, oh, my God, this is the greatest thing. And then what happened? A month later, nobody cared. It's going to end up being the same thing. In a month from now, people are going to be like, oh, yeah, Gillette did some kind of stupid thing that I don't care about.
So essentially...
It's all bandwagoning.
I know, but essentially, so you're only causing people harm for no good reason. And then people don't even care afterwards, right?
Okay, sorry, those two kids that you can see on the screen right now, to me it looked like they were wrestling, not fighting. And if they're wrestling and doing it properly, it's not a problem. It's not an aggressive tactic. I mean, if you want to see
we used to do
fighting, watch, what was it called? Cobra Kai.
Ooh.
The YouTube Red show that's currently out. I mean, you want to see what happens when kids get the shit beaten out of them? That's it.
Well, in this commercial, they had a bunch of men all saying at the same time, "Boys will be boys," and they're saying that as if it's a bad thing. Now, that's not a bad thing. Sometimes little boys are violent with each other. Sometimes they like to have fun and wrestle. Oh darn! Why is that terrible?
Because
it all depends on the
violence.
context. You know, if it's something like kids roughhousing, yeah, boys will be boys. I mean, we did that when we were kids. We would wrestle on each other's front lawns and
Indeed.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, when
whatever.
you start getting into other things like where they talk about objectifying women and sexual harassment, stuff like that, no, boys will be boys is not an excuse for that. Like, there are certain things that people are saying, oh, boys will be boys. Oh, it's just a guy thing in situations where it's not, where it's not acceptable.
But I don't
and
feel
there
like
are people that just kind of overlook that.
I don't
So that
feel
I do
like
agree
I need
with.
Gillette to tell me that, toxic masculinity and objectifying women is a bad thing. Yeah, we all know that. Like, objectifying women and whatnot, sure, that's bad. But why do I need a razor company to say this stuff? Like what kind of message are they sending to their customers?
They-
Like, I just want to shave. That's it.
Well, everybody wants their 15 minutes of
Hey,
fame,
hey,
and
hey.
these corporations no
You
exception.
know what? They're getting grilled
What?
hammered so hard on this as well. Like they're getting memed on. Like it's not, it's no longer Gillette, the best a man can get. You know what it is now? The best
Gillette, the best an incel can get.
No, it's Gillette, the best a soy boy can get.
Ooh.
Oh, God. There was kind of an answer to that ad that I saw. It was from like a watch company, I think
Yes,
it
that
was. I don't know.
one, yes.
Yeah, I don't know if that was like an American company or not, but I saw that and I was like, it's like it's its own virtue signaling in a way because you're answering to somebody when you're doing that. But they did make a lot of good points in that particular commercial. I mean, like the reason for them releasing it, I don't necessarily know if I agree with, because you're not really fixing the problem. You're just creating a problem on top of a problem that's already been set.
And then comes the meme material as well too.
I mean,
Yeah,
Watch Company did end up responding to Gillette because, in the sense that they felt, they're at least they had to address the issue once and for all. But that was never addressed as a commercial. That was, like a response video.
that wasn't like a commercial that they put out.
That wasn't a commercial. They weren't trying to sell watches with that one. They were just.
Oh, I
basically
thought that was like an ad that they put out. Oh, I didn't.
No, it wasn't.
Well, it was, but it wasn't, I guess.
Either way, though, what they did basically just bought, faith in humanity again. That's what I'm gonna say. But essentially, yes. You know something that's also missed that before I go on to my next thing, not to the next topic, but the next, in the same vein, that, these guys are going woke and riding the woke drain all the way down to the very bottom. Like,
Sheesh.
blah, blah, blah. The guy, the head honchos sincerely believe there's an issue with this. And now he says he's going to keep going at it. And then, you know what? Says Taylor did not explain how attacking toxic masculinity would help Gillette sell more razors to male consumers.
Oh dear, I can only wonder
Especially
why.
with something it's like with everything else that people have just made these broad terms for. They're broadening everything and they're making enemies out of everybody that they encounter. So, when they want to talk about things like toxic masculinity or other things, I won't even mention because it'll just bring up another thing. But like all these terms that you guys have brought up in the past on your podcast, that they're so like they all used to have a specific meaning, and now it's just people say it, and it's like people don't take offense to them because they don't even know what the meaning of it is anymore, because the context is it's usually out of context half the time,
and it's gone, and it's been overused and watered down too, no less.
Exactly, and that's a problem as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, but while we're on the same same tangent, what bothered me as well? See, this little psychologist declared traditional masculinity harmful, was that this was I feel like there are no coincidences. This whole
And
let's
the stars
all attack masculinity together.
And not only that too, but like
one of their marketing teams probably saw this article and was like, "Oh, you know what? We got to go jump on this and say yes."
freaking tattoo.
This is from the American Psychological Association, and they honestly think that being men is a disorder of itself. Like, we all are right now, all 5 of us. Disorders, nope, written off.
Oh my goodness gracious! What is wrong with the world?
This is the product of a sick and failing society.
I don't know if
man.
it's a problem with the world as it is the people that we let speak to us. Like if we didn't give these people any platform to stand on, then half the problems we have right now wouldn't be going on.
Maybe. I don't know. It could be a lot of things, going on. And also, not to mention Joel too, but I'm big on the side note as well too. Hey Joel, could you scroll up for a bit?
Okay. What is it?
Yes, it's like sure there's a beefy guy in that and all, but like the Star David tattoo
Hey
and the title
now,
though too. I'm starting to think
I
like
didn't see that.
some of these anti-masculinity advocates are a bit anti-Semitic as well too.
The other
so
th-
women's
You
march.
could say that. You could
well.
argue that as in a way.
Look, from my point of view, it looks like people are just simply taking the violent type of the masculinity sort of section
It's
and saying, well, that's how everybody is. Well, just because you're masculine doesn't mean you turn around and see someone punch the shit out of them.
it's not that. They want to basically patronize men for their so-called thing and dictate their behaviors. Like being a proper man is basically a disease, while being a soy boy
Oh,
isn't.
shit, I forgot.
It.
That's
There we go.
funny. I want to see a commercial about toxic femininity.
There we go.
Let's-
That'd be
Let's see how
perfect.
that goes. Right?
Oh, but that is wrong. That doesn't exist, according
yeah,
to
I'm sure.
social
it
media.
doesn't. I'm sure
Oh.
womansplaining doesn't exist either. Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Toxic
yeah.
femininity is where it's at.
Misandry as well too. Puh, that's definitely something of fairy tale, isn't it?
Mm.
Women being violent is apparently non-existent.
No,
Oh,
no, of
yeah.
course not. No, they could never.
No, they're non-existent.
Anyway, you know who else decided to jump on the masculinity hate bandwagon?
Tell us. Wait,
PETA
let me
did.
guess. Johnny what?
Not that.
Wait.
That's a.
What?
Oh god,
What in the
I'm gonna
world
dis-
is that?
What the?
Again with PETA, really? Oh,
Bro.
God.
That's not
no.
friendly at all.
Okay, I'm gonna stop
Shock
screen
and awe.
sharing it now because that's basically borderline-ish NSFW image, even if mockery. It's
PETA.
Oh.
That's not
What
just
the
that's
fuck?
not just demonetization. That's like getting your entire channel banned. Jesus.
That's the
PETA, what
definition
fuck?
of shock and awe.
And yet PETA can
Seriously.
post it on Twitter and not have their account banned.
Exactly.
It's
I am
because they're
quite confident that
You
PETA
know-
at this point has no idea what they're doing and they're just taking shots in the dark.
I'm
Well,
not.
that's a coming up topic. But
You know what? I'm just gonna straight up say as well is that who would win? One masculine man or an army of soy boys, like from PETA bred soy boys.
Man.
Power
I'm
in
pretty
numbers,
sure-
I suppose.
I mean, okay, that's not the best argument. I know, like probably should have. That's
well, what win in a fight? Because like the soy boys would probably just run away and be keyboard warriors and just fight on Twitter.
Of
They wouldn't
yeah,
course.
have
the numbers thing isn't the best argument, but yeah.
No,
Either
look,
way.
if you work out properly, you're going to have speed and strength behind you. Where if you're one of those idiots that decide to hit up with steroids, well, you're going to have the strength, but you're not going to have the speed, and you're also going to have problems below the waist. But then again,
Roar.
All right, so here's a question I want to propose to you guys. Are you still going to buy Gillette products, considering what they've said about men in general?
Extremely questionable.
Because I'm sure a lot of people are boycotting them, and we're gonna get into the next topic. Other
Yeah.
things going,
I'm
getting
going to straight up say no. I don't want another Gillette product. I have an electric shaver that's not a Gillette or any.
Well, there that.
Yeah.
Also, not to mention as well too that like after seeing that PETA post, I'm not gonna be eating vegetables anytime soon.
That made me want a lot of meat.
Exactly. Oh, that sounds gay too.
with
Hey,
the
Joel.
whole, with the whole Gillette thing, I'm still using my current razor. However, when I went shopping last time, I was supposed to buy a packet of razors. Instead, I just bought a different brand.
And that's the problem with getting woke. These companies don't realize that people don't like politics being infused into their products because it divides people.
Anyway,
I mean, with me, I've been using Gillette forever. I like their razors.
It's time for a new change.
Yeah.
Anyway, before I
We
move
live
on,
in a
let's read
society. Gamers rise up.
live comments for a little bit. Rockstar Toasties says, I used an ancient buzzer from the 50s for my face. My hair is like platinum cable. Nice.
Okay.
He just uses those razors,
An
old school
ancient one
razors.
from the-
Sorry, I think someone's eating while on open mic.
Well, sorry about that. I'm just opening my bag here.
Okay, you might want to. Okay, I can read another couple of little
Perfect.
live comments before we transition, though. So the next one we've got in Wacom, it's masculinity that caused the caveman to kill the animal so the human race can survive.
Yeah.
I thought the human race were killing animals way before the humans actually existed.
Yeah.
Tell me about
But
it.
yes, we're going to move on to the next articles of discussion, which is now the other companies joining our title's sake, the Wokelympics, as I like to call it.
Oh, God.
Oh, jeez, the Wokelympics. I love it.
And yeah, I would like to preface this by saying that there's another shaving company called Schick Hydro that did something quite similar to what Gillette did just a few months ago. They had this campaign called This is the Man I Am. And what they did was in these commercials, you've probably seen these on YouTube, where they show different arrays of men, which are not your stereotypical, Chad or whatever. And they would say, oh, well, this is the man I am. They would show an obese black person or a skinny, white, nerdy guy and, some gay men, everything in between, because they want to be very diverse and whatnot. So they tried to do this before Gillette did, but they didn't go quite as far. But they kind of started it about 6 or 8 months ago, thereabouts.
Indeed.
So now I suppose it's time we cross Schick off our shaver list.
Yeah,
Hey,
so
Joel.
Schick Hydro. Schick Hydro. Why are these shaving companies doing this? They just have to sell products to people for shaving.
Man.
Why?
And,
But other companies as well. Jolt, I'm sure you have a list here.
of course, we'll get started on to you later.
Also, can I say something as well, too, just for the record?
Yes.
So, a bit of confession, for everyone, just for the record as well, too. I remember, growing up, in the 2000s or in the 90s as well, too, shall I say, that, every time, that I grew up as well, too, we always thought about the future. They're going to be, hey, we're going to be flying cars. We're going to be, let's say, going to new planets. We're going to have some amazing technology and everything, right?
That was 1968.
Instead,
1968, now 2019.
Instead, we got this,
And we
just a
got
bunch
this
of
too.
disappointment as well too, and I can see as well too, the amount of depression and so on that has increased. I can see a good reason for all that, a very good reason for that.
All right, then let's start with who's joining the Wokelympics.
Let's see. Our next competitor
Is Johnny Walker.
Oh Lord.
Here's to every voice. Here's to every step. We partnered with some incredible artists to create powerful poster designs for the Women's March. Oh God. Okay, so
I'm surprised they didn't use menstrual blood, to be honest.
That's a disturbing thought. Thanks for that.
Basically send the company to the drain really damn fast. Oh, good grief. Yes, resist the future is female.
God is dead, and we killed
What
him.
does that mean? The future is female. Is there there's something I'm missing there?
Gee, I wonder why. It's like they think that women will take charge now. They're no Beyonces, but look at the freaking hippie symbol on the thing. They're like, dude, this is you're 60 years behind the curve. 50, 60 years behind the curve.
I put 70.
Yeah. And you know what? Can I just say, what am I going to call them right now? I'm going to call them Johnny Woker.
Well, congratulations, Joel. Congratulations, Joe. You just started a whole new wave of memes.
I mean, I wasn't the one who came up with it, but
There's going to be a Twitter account in about 5 minutes.
Oh, you bet there will be.
Johnny Woker. That is great.
whiskey for the Tumblrland whales.
Well, I mean, they could probably use it. They're probably so depressed.
Oh God.
I mean, I'd be if I was a land whale with green hair and 10 piercings on my face, and I got offended by everything. Yeah, of course I need some booze. Yeah, Johnny Woker, get me woke.
Yeah, the comment section is hilarious though. You should rename yourself to Gillette Whiskey.
Jesus.
Oh, just straight up flaming them.
I wonder how long the Gillette bayonet's going to be around for then.
You know what? I'm starting to wonder the same thing as well too.
Yeah.
How long? These companies are gonna get gone woke. How long? Do they have to?
Not gonna end anytime soon. But
they're just trying to adjust their sales pitches. That's what it is. It's a sales tactic. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Can I just ask, who are the main constituents of people who buy Johnny Walker whiskey? Men, right?
Me.
Yeah. See?
Men who want to drink. And whiskey is a man's drink, stereotypically.
Sexist.
I mean, it's definitely perceived that way.
Yeah. And now that they've basically pooped on their core constituents, well, there goes
clearly and well.
Now, for the interest of fairness, I'm gonna have to go up there and suggest a couple of alternatives for people who want to get their fill of whiskey now that Johnny Woker is in.
Oh yeah. Well, so what are the good alternatives you got?
Well, first of all, the parent company that owns Johnny Walker is Diageo. So we're gonna have to go off, and I know this is gonna leave you with a sour taste because there's quite a lot of alcohol brands under their belt.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I just
I've
don't
got the website running up.
I don't get it. I really don't get why companies would do this. Like, do they think that they're going to make more customers, or are they going to divide their current customers?
I think the idea is they want to try to bring everybody together.
Yeah, here we go.
Signaling.
You need to figure out a better sales pitch to do that, because essentially what you're doing with stuff like this is pissing people off while making a small fraction of people happy.
All right.
My guess to what's going on is that you've got these big corporations. They're finding out that there's a shift online, or at least with the loudest people. So then they're either hiring their own people, or they're going to a marketing agency and saying, look, we want to get in with this crowd, only without realizing that it just tends to piss the average person off.
Yeah, it does. You know what? Like, even Gillette had a board of marketing thingos who are so full of, anti-Trump hatred and so on, which explains their motives. But yeah.
Oh.
Now here's
but at the same time, you look at that, you look at things like that, it's like, yeah, they have the loudest voice, but it was also proven from the election that they didn't really have that much of a majority, and they ended up losing.
I'm bummed because I have to freaking look for... actually, finding another good scotch is basically an easy job for me. Now, you just don't want to get the Diageo stuff, which includes things like, not just Johnny Walker, but let's see. That's Crown Royal, and for other lovers of different alcohols. Kettle One. Oh, Rock, Smirnoff, Captain Morgan. Damn it, that was actually a freaking good rum.
It was a good rum. It was.
Bundaberg is the one that
Bailey's.
You probably don't want to hear this, but you could always just drink water. Filter it out of the tap. Unless bloody what's the names? Britta decide to turn around and get woke.
Well, they did? Oh, of course. Oh my god. Like, here's the thing. Now we're saying this about, this used to be a good rum because these companies have gone so damn woke that they're neglecting so much of their customers, and they're making us feel bad and not want to buy their products.
The problem is
I
they're
don't
also wasting their money on
understand.
it.
Yeah, but I don't understand why they think this is a good tactic. Just stick to your products. Don't involve politics or anything like that.
Because they want to talk to the modern person. They want to try to emphasize, be in the cool crowd, as you'd say.
No,
The
I'm
problem
gonna
is the cool
say
crowd
something.
is so short and stumped that the average person doesn't look up to them.
The
It's
modern
the current-
person does not
it's a
does
disease
not
mode of
need
the
all.
current year, sadly. But
The
yes.
modern person does not need all these politics.
Yeah.
In fact, none of this. No one needs all these politics. Will too.
Okay.
In fact, we're just destroying everything that we used to know for the sake of some bullshit politics.
So, other than that, though, you know who's next to join? Who's actually more accurately, who's teetering on the edge right now?
Oh, I can barely imagine. What the
Wacom.
fuck?
It's
Who's that?
Wacom is a provider of digital art tablets, renowned by many artists and such like.
Oh, look, feminism. How wonderful. Because that's what we all need.
I've never even heard of this company.
Yeah, me neither, actually. Oh, no, actually, I have. I've heard of them, but they're not very big.
Great.
I have one of their bamboos, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be upgrading because I was considering either later this year or early next year upgrading the one that I currently have.
Don't worry, we'll find some alternatives for you.
Yeah, it's called a bloody iPad.
Yeah, that's right.
Unfortunately, with the way Apple's going.
You know what? I kind of lamented because Wacom for the longest time virtually had no competition, like towards the mid to late 2000s.
Oh, they did have competition. It was just really bad.
And yeah, that's why they dominated the drawing tablet market. And this is the art they produced. That feminism caricature cartoon.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
No.
We live in a society.
Yeah. And because of this, though, now everyone. So, where do we go from here? Time to find some alternate tablets. Huh? That was posted on their Facebook page, by the way. Not a commercial. Still.
I really think after all of this, woke company nonsense kind of blows over, eventually there's going to be a counter to this. Companies that are anti-feminist, companies that are anti-SJW are going to really take off.
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing either because, the common narrative right now is that, social justice is bad and feminism is bad, things like that. Social justice warriors back in the 50s is what got black people the right to vote. It's what got women the right to vote and own property and all these different things. So there has been a lot of good things that have come from movements like this. The problem is that you have these extremists that go out there and they blow it way out of proportion and it overshadows all the good. So I think I'm quoting
Sorry,
Griffin here when I say this.
Sorry, someone's making some crinkling sound and it's distracting the audio.
Yeah, probably best not to eat while you're on the show. Either way.
And as I was saying, I think I'm quoting Griffin when I say this. It's don't get rid of feminism, don't get rid of the social justice warriors, just get rid of the idiots that are in those groups.
Maybe, but we
wishful
really don't
thinking
need
these
feminism
days, though.
in the Western world. We really don't need it, but that's a whole different conversation.
It depends on where its application is.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you look at YouTube, there's so many feminist wrecked videos, social justice warriors, cringe videos, all this, and people love that stuff.
That's because you're looking at the idiots. That's why.
Well, I think there's an upward trend of people that realize this whole movement is just nonsense, and that they gravitate towards making fun of it, and eventually companies are going to start to take advantage of that market. Because
I don't know if they would go that route.
Well,
I don't know if they would go out there and make fun of it, and I don't know that they would necessarily address. I think what would happen is that the companies would just stop with the Wokelympics and go back to doing what they were doing. I don't think
Well,
you're
that-
ever.
that's
I don't
what
think
I'm
it's
saying.
going to turn 180 degrees.
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's what I'm saying, because it's gone so far in this one direction. And
Yeah,
that,
but when you go from one extremity to another, nothing good comes from that.
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends, actually.
Anyway,
I mean, what bums you out the most, I mean, is essentially like everything that we used to know just starts tumbling down right before us.
Anyway, just so you guys know, yes, I am going to be in the market for a new drawing tablet that's not from Wacom. I am in the market also for some new scotch, which I'm going to call my brother up and see if it's not freaking Johnny. So, yes, has this inspired you to go and look for new alcohol or new tablets?
Could you please not?
No.
Well, I mean, I really don't want to give money to Gillette, considering they offended a lot of men by saying that we're all bad people. So no, I'm not going to do that.
Mhm.
And there was the whole issue with Nike as well. When Nike sided with the NFL and their whole
Panic,
kneeling
yeah, oh
for the
god.
flag.
Well, yeah, there was
Yeah, I
that as well,
remember that.
too.
Yeah, so remember the whole Nike ban? There was a bunch of stuff on that. And then they had that, I think his name was Colin Kaepernick. They had as their spokesperson for Nike. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, I kneel, for the anthem. No, nobody wants an anti-American spokesperson. That's not good for business at all. And I would not support any company that supports that. So no, I can't say that,
All right,
that's a good
there we
thing.
go. So now that that's kind of run its course, we're going to get to the next sort of deal. All right, that's been.
Well, what
taken
it
care of.
be?
Well, we're going back to cover the idiocy known as PETA.
Ooh, PETA.
Yeah, that is...
Sick moments. Animal rights activists pretend to barbecue a dog in the middle of Sydney, terrifying young children passing by.
Great strategy.
The definition of shock and awe.
Shit.
Yeah, this was pretty sick what they've done.
They literally did this in the CBD of my freaking town. Oh god. Anyway, but yes, they basically did this, to take an opportunistic jab because what's coming up for a lot of you unaware is Australia Day. Just for some context. And you know what we kind of like to do here?
What?
Because there's a bevy of commercials on TV and so forth, radio. Eat lamb.
Oh, Lord.
So
Well, that's going to give an aneurysm to a lot of PETA people.
Yes, a freaking taxidermied dog that looks like it has basically been in a pit of fire.
Well, can I just say though, PETA is known for their shock and awe campaigns, and here's just a few. One, they had a naked human female on a barbecue, cannibalism barbecue. Two, they had an ad against milk, and they said that milk caused autism. In fact, they actually bought out 100 square foot billboards that claimed milk causes autism.
What the
What?
fuck?
Oh my god.
It gets
but
better.
I thought milk was...
it gets better.
Can I just ask, which is it? Is milk a cause of autism, or is milk something that only white supremacists drink, according to the news?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
In their ad, they had a bowl of milk with a frowny face made of Cheerios that said, "Got autism? Milk from cows causes autism." They actually did that. And the most controversial billboard, in my opinion, that they did was they compared Holocaust victims to animals in farms. They showed pictures of starving Jews next to pictures of goats and chickens and stuff, and said, "Look at how we treat our animals."
Hey! Can I just make a dingo joke? I mean, wouldn't those Jews be at least happy if they were told to go on a vegan diet? Wouldn't they not starve?
Don't know that.
That's what PETA said, though. Oh my goodness. And they're still doing this crazy stuff. They're boiling up dogs on grills before Australia Day, because Australia Day, for those of you who don't know, it's a tradition to grill like lamb
on barbecues
that's-
and all sorts of meat.
Yeah, of course.
Not
And
to
now they're
mention,
saying, oh well,
look,
now,
read
now
the
they're boiling up
tagline.
dogs.
Read the tagline. If you wouldn't eat a dog, why eat a lamb?
Exactly. That's their whole point.
Here's my question to this. Why would you? I mean, Joel, I don't know how it is in Australia. I'm sure it's the same way in the Western world. But why would you try to get people to stop eating meat by showing a display of a meat source that the Western world does not eat?
To
Like,
make
all
it
your-
so what is it? To make it so it's not appetizing?
Yeah, but at the same time, if you did this with like a cow, or if you did it with a horse, or whatever other meat sources that we use, I would look at that and be like, oh, okay, that's kind of messed up. But what you're showing is a dog, which people have as pets. So basically, you're showing their dead pet on a barbecue. Like what message does that send? I mean, I know in some other countries, dog meat is primarily what they eat, because in those countries, cow meat is sacred, things like that.
Mhm.
So depending on where you are in the world, there are countries that do use dogs for their primary meat source. But you're doing this in Australia.
In that respect,
Like-
I think they're doing this because people do have a more emotional connection to dogs, and they're saying,
Like,
"Well,
it's,
you would
it's
not
as if
eat your
PETA
pet."
didn't care about dogs in the first place.
No, they
True,
don't. They
true.
don't care at all. No, they
Also, can I ask a question, well, too?
Yes.
Wasn't PETA like the same company who like lured a dog away from like a little girl and then euthanized it?
I don't know, but their history of their animal violations is kind of well known if you know where to look.
I
I
do
suspect
recall
it
hearing
is.
of a case where PETA Dog Shelter was simply putting their canines into a freezer and, well, leaving them there to die, but this is only a rumor I heard.
Yeah, there was something else that I read where they got a puppy mill shut down or something, and then PETA took them all, and then they euthanized them because they couldn't get rid of them. So congratulations on your endeavor. It didn't work.
Okay, so can I just before I continue on,
What in
just
the
make a little
goddamn-
disclosure I was kind of got told to say. Can I just speak on behalf of the group as well?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
A number
for
of
it.
our members haven't eaten vegetables since PETA released not only their attack on masculinity, but this dog baking stunt.
Ugh.
This just makes me want meat. A lot of it. Not just to spite PETA, but because meat is so damn good.
Yeah, right.
Also,
I think PETA should just go away and let the
Go
ASPCA
vegan.
take over.
Also, you know what also grinds my gears?
What?
I am somebody who has Asian heritage, and you know what the common stereotype is?
What?
Asians eat
Yeah.
supposedly. So yes, they are going to get lambasted by that, but also the big thing is children were traumatized when they saw their dog, a dog, God no, getting baked.
Yeah,
Well-
and now that does not make kids want to not eat meat. That makes them want to stay clear away from PETA, because
That's
think
what I was
PETA
going to
is
say.
evil.
I can't speak for those kids that were there, but I know if I saw that, I would say, "Oh my God, those people are psychopaths." Who do you represent? PETA? Yeah, you guys are crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to associate with you.
I've
Yeah,
had
no
the
way.
unfortunate pleasure of knowing a few PETA supporters,
Mm.
and their way of treating dogs is really disappointing, to say the least. This one family had a husky. They decided not to take it out for a walk because it panicked too much. So when I was caring for the dog, I decided, well, okay, I'm going to take it for a walk. The dog freaked out a couple of times. And I'd say after about the third time a car drove by, it freaked out. I just looked at it and said, what? And the dog just calmed down. This dog was also horribly obese, but to me, they're the worst animal abusers around. Much more worse than any of those puppy farms or anything. It just...
Hypocrisy
And-
by name is PETA.
The thing about huskies,
This was not brought up yet, but basically the message on the barbecue that they had this, fake dog on, it said "Go vegan." Go vegan. That's their message to people.
And that's just gonna make vegans look bad.
Yeah. Also, little
You know
fun
what?
though, like, I mean, all you have to do is just basically, hey, you stole my dog.
Oh,
That's a good idea. That's actually a
That'd
good
be an
idea.
interesting plot twist.
Oh yeah, it would be. Even not only kids would be traumatized of what they're doing, but they would get a clear idea of what who PETA would actually be.
Anyway, I do have another moronic food story to share with you, just to move on to that PETA shame. Here we go. No, I haven't.
Council bans cheese toasties to stop motorbike gangs.
This is in
Are they
Bristol, UK.
Are they clinically stupid?
So what's the idea behind?
There's got to be more to this.
No, there's not though. They think that selling this food like supports like violence or something. It's crazy.
I don't think banning cheese is going to stop biker gangs from doing their thing.
Yes,
It's
it
a bit-
will.
I mean, it's as if, every single biker must love a cheese toastie made from, straight from.
And I'm
I
sure
can
they
only
do,
imagine-
but if they don't have that, they'll just find something else to eat.
I can only imagine, let's say, like a biker gang member just looking at this and just laughing his ass off. It's
I mean, can I just ask?
who even thought this was a good idea?
Oh,
Who
the
even
government.
thought this was a good idea?
The UK government, that's who. And they're actually enforcing this too, by the way. They actually are.
Oh my
That's
good
where it
lord!
gets crazy. That's so
It's a lot of
crazy,
weird
right?
things that the UK does.
It's like so authoritarian. It's like
Hey,
downright
read this.
Orwellian.
Read this. Councillor Claire Hiscott also believes it will lure children to giving off school.
Oh my goodness.
What?
What the WTF? I love cheese toasties now.
You know what? When I
because
see things like this, I feel like they're put out by trolls that just want to try and make different people look bad. Like I look at some of these videos and it's like this has to be somebody like staging this so they can try and make people look bad. Like
Yeah, right?
because
You-
no
you would
rational
think-
person is going to do this.
You would think this was fake, but there's a bunch of stuff that the crazy alt-leftist does that seems like parody, but it's actually not. Like you
I
can't-
still think that GameStop video. You guys know which one I'm talking about.
I
I still
know.
think that was
Oh
staged.
yes,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that was staged.
I
maybe it
know.
was.
What? Yeah.
Oh.
It was staged to make the LGBT community look bad. That's what I think. That's my conspiracy. It's my story. I'm sticking to it because I can't see somebody acting that way under normal
but then you
conditions.
have articles like this about banning cheese toasties. Like, what? And this is real.
I'd
You
be
know what?
laughing if this was a Monty Python skit.
You know what? The next joke was like, blah blah blah. Is this why you got a license to sell those cheese toasties, mate?
Yeah, right. You have to have a license.
To sell cheese toasties. Actually, you know what? We could probably turn a profit of
Who published this article?
Metro UK. And then, somebody legit took it too far because apparently cheese toasties will make you into a bad boy.
Oh no, can't have that.
Context. Yeah, that's I feel like this is fake news.
What the legend?
But who knows? I mean,
It could
people are
not
capable
be.
of some pretty crazy things.
Sounds like a group's grasping at straws.
I mean, a cheese toastie is like the most Western meals you can get. God forbid, what are we gonna substitute it with?
Go someplace
amazing
where they're
how-
being sold.
It's just amazing how they equivalent cheese toasties to like biker gangs and violence. Like what? Like who even thought of this? This is nonsense.
There's some there's definitely some science there.
Oh yeah, real science. Yeah, of course, absolutely.
This was definitely motivated because cheese toasties are proven unhealthy for you. Like,
I've never had a cheese toastie, but I kind of want one.
You know what?
I mean, it's kind
Very
of like
good.
grilled cheese. Really, it's the same thing.
I think we can probably start making a cheese toasty recipe now one day.
Yeah.
I suppose so.
Brought to you by
Make
the
it with
Furry
bacon,
Readers.
ham, cheese.
And a nice slicing of French toast.
Ooh, of course.
Everything a biker needs to start his day. Right.
It's a good sales pitch.
You do realize that if a criminal gang is going to go out and commit an act, they're going to do it in such a way where it's not visible to the general public. So riding around on a bloody motorcycle with a bag of money at the other end is exactly not what they're going to be doing.
No. One cheese toasty, please.
Oh, Lord.
I didn't. You know what it is? I didn't realize how like big biker gangs still were. I mean, Avira, I don't know if you heard anything about this, but a couple of years ago, I used to go to this car show near me. It was called the Bald Hill Car Show, and they had like one of the biggest turnouts they ever had. And among them was the Hells Angels and whatever their rival gang is. And apparently, I wasn't there for it, but apparently there was like a brawl, and it made the news. Like all this stuff. Like it was, from what I read, it was pretty bad. And I was kind of glad I was not there.
Holy
I was
shit.
I was like, these guys are like still around and they're still causing trouble. Like the Hells Angels, you think of like the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, you never really hear anything about them anymore.
Was this on Long Island?
Yeah, it was at Bald Hill. I don't know if you know
wow.
where that is. But it was
Yeah.
every Monday night they used to have a car show. And I don't know if it was at that particular show, but they had a show and it was like this huge turnout. And these two biker gangs clashed, and like there was a bunch of cops there. Like it was nuts from what I read.
I bet they were all eating them cheese toasties.
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on, and now let's go read a couple of little live comments. Inu Okami says the next city over from where I live banned plastic water bottles to save the environment. But just water bottles, not soda, not juice, not Gatorades, not anything else, just water. Lol. Dummies. Round of applause.
It's like what they did in California. They got rid of the straws and made those weird
right?
cup
We
lids,
did-
and they
we
found
did-
out that they use more plastic to make those than to make the actual straws.
Imagine my shock.
Whoa! And Boxcar the Husky says, PETA tried to steal my dog 5 years ago, and tried to say he was malnourished, even though he weighs over 150 pounds. Didn't end well, but I still have my big squishy.
So we're living in
Wow.
a castle law state helps
Huh.
you.
So PETA tried to steal his dog. Oh my goodness.
What in the goddamn...
Well, that's what they do. They sometimes they do that. You know, they go to puppy mills or they go to people's houses and they try to take people's animals away.
Hey.
So, Peter's the pet-snatching mafia, then.
Basically, they're literally, dog protective services.
Well, that's like I'm part of
Dog
my
protective.
brother. My brother back in New York, he owns a husky, and the one you always see those things out there say, oh, if they're cold, if you're cold, they're cold, bring them inside. Not true with a husky. I mean, if when it's 15 degrees outside and there's 3 feet of snow on the ground, you're never getting that dog in the house. His dog absolutely loves it.
Nah.
And there was something where it was one of the husky clubs that I'm a part of on Facebook where I think they said something like PETA knocked on their door, and the guy was like, yeah, like I'm just as pissed off as you are that my dog is out there because I've been trying to get him in for the past 4.5 hours.
What if he's
Alright.
dead already, and they killed him?
Anyway, that's probably a wrap for that. So the last item on the docket is a big radical change. The new Ghostbusters.
Finally some good
I
news.
lost it.
And this is what I was saying about how people are kind of countering the crazy alt-leftist, SJW agenda with movies like this. To some extent.
I never actually saw the all-female Ghostbusters movie. Not because I didn't want to. It's just I haven't gotten around to see it.
No, I don't.
I couldn't see it because of how much it made me cringe.
And
Oh,
I did.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't that good, but I mean, I kind of want to keep an open mind and watch it.
Okay.
Wasn't Melissa McCarthy the lead role in that movie or something?
And
Wasn't
so was
Melissa
Leslie
McCarthy?
Jones.
But like Melissa McCarthy, I like her sense of humor, and I like how she like her comedy. So I feel like if they threw a lot of that in there, because like I saw her, I think one of the first movies I saw her in was Heat or The Heat, whatever it was, with Sandra Bullock, and she was absolutely hilarious. So I'd like to see how they have that with a Ghostbusters movie.
But yes, you know what? The biggest topic of outrage with that is they're setting it back to the original Ghostbusters universe and saying to them like the woke feminist Ghostbusters with Leslie Jones never happened.
Yeah, so basically what they're saying is the new Ghostbusters movie is going to be called Ghostbusters 3, and they're going to completely ignore the fact that Ghostbusters 2016 ever happened. Now, a lot of movies do this, especially if you look at the Spider-Man series. A lot of movies have done this and kind of overwritten the universe. It happens. The thing is, Leslie Jones is so upset about this, and she's blaming sexism and racism on this.
Sheesh.
Because their movie flopped, and she's upset that they want to reinvigorate the series by making a third sequel and ignoring the movie that flopped.
Reminds me of a certain someone between Star Wars and Disney.
Was that Ghostbusters movie made by the original producer?
No,
it was not. No, it was made by a director called Paul Feig in 2016.
Oh.
He was not.
Because I was gonna say if it was the same director, then that's kind of a risky move. But if it was somebody completely different, then I can kind of understand why they would say that.
No, director Paul Feig made the 2016 Ghostbusters with a feminist message and girl power and whatnot, and he tried to completely reboot the series entirely. The thing is, Ghostbusters 3 is using the original cast and is going to be kind of loyal to the original series of the first Ghostbusters 1 and 2 back in the 1980s. And now there are people who are complaining that, well, if you didn't like Ghostbusters 2016, that means you're a racist, sexist. Because it was all females and whatnot. Yeah, so that's what it's doing.
It has absolutely nothing to do with the freaky director they decided to slap into the movie.
No, but this one though, the Leslie Jones thing, she's literally did this. Now, yes, you'll never guess who she blamed. Trump. Gonna read
the Furry Raiders.
Huge.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this. She blames Trump. She blamed Trump for this. Can you imagine?
It's an easy scapegoat.
Because Orange Man bad for everything, right? I mean, why not? Why not?
I mean, you know what? Don't you just wish Sony would have done the Ghostbusters with as much of the original cast, which they're planning to do, with men from the get-go, and save us this mess?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Who cares if it's all female or all men? All I care about is if it's a good story. And Ghostbusters
that's the thing.
2016 was not a good story. It just was a terrible movie.
Sorry,
with some political undertones. It was terrible.
I really think Ghostbusters is going down the same way as the whole Dragon Ball Z fiasco.
Ooh.
So, does anyone remember the Dragon Ball Evolution movie?
I remember.
I never watched Dragon Ball Z, so I'm kind of in the dark on this one.
Okay, so apparently what happened was the movie was produced so badly, the original creator of the Dragon Ball franchise was basically given the finger by the actual director saying, no, we know how to make a movie, knowing nothing about the Dragon Ball Z franchise or Dragon Ball at all. Produced this movie. They pissed off the original creator so much that he made 2 movies and then Dragon Ball Super. Now, I like Dragon Ball Super. I think it's actually rather funny to watch. But, yeah, I really hope Ghostbusters go down the same route where they create a movie that is good.
Well, here, they're trying to go back to that, and that's the thing. I mean, you look at movies like Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, all of these new movies trying to imbue this feminist kind of message into it, they all just bomb because it's only about that message. It's not about a good story. They don't hire actors and actresses because they're good. They hire them to fill quotas and for their agenda, and that just makes it terrible.
It has to be relevant to the story. It's like, I think it was like Harry Potter or something where they said, oh, they wanted one of the cast members to be gay. It's like, all right, you can do that, but how is that relevant to the story? How does that change anything else that happens? If it doesn't,
Exactly.
then
Yeah, who cares?
it doesn't matter if the person is straight or gay or, you know, trans or, you know, whatever. As long as if it's relevant to the story, then yeah, go for it. But make it. Don't just say the guy that he's a homosexual character just for the sake of putting it out there to get representation. Because if that's all you're going to say throughout that entire story and build nothing from it, then it doesn't hold any value.
Exactly.
And it's just wasted. It's a wasted line.
Yeah, that's what they do, and that's why a lot of people are upset by it, because all they care about is identity politics. They don't actually care about character development or storylines at all. And that's probably why Leslie's so upset, and she's blaming Trump. Oh, this is something Trump would do. Ignore all the women power. It's like, no, you just had a terrible movie. Who cares if you're all women? Like, that doesn't matter. It was just a terrible movie. And now they're trying to make a third, sequel. And hopefully it's good. Who knows? But my goodness, I mean, she just went all out. She was cursing people out, all the fans. Oh, you're all sexist. You're all racist. You're this and that. I mean,
they say that there's sexism in America, but who's the Speaker of the House of Representatives right now? Who's the CEO of General Motors? Like, they're both women. Like, there are women that are in higher positions than men are, and that are in equal positions to men are. Things like that. The
problem is with them, of course, it lies in the entitlement complex. Yeah.
I recall that.
But essentially, the gripe is, of course, there was a live comment as well. Like Inu Okami did say, why does a legendary franchise like the Ghostbusters have to be, and I mean, yeah.
But again, if it wasn't made by the original director, it's not really. It's a part of the franchise, but it isn't because it was somebody else that made it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. You know what? Also was weird. Apparently, Ghostbusters has to censor the word ghost because of the Chinese, because they get so uppity about the word ghost.
Yeah.
They're quite offensive about it.
Actually, in China, you can't post or show anything that has a skeleton in it, because it's superstitious and represents death or something supernatural.
That sounds similar to like what Germany does with the swastika, because I remember seeing this thing on YouTube where they had that game Wolfenstein, whatever it's called, where they had it side by side, and like in the Western world, it showed like the swastika on like the flag, but then they showed the German one, it was just the Iron Cross, because I guess it's still censored over there. I thought they lifted that at some point, but apparently like it's still like you can't.
It's illegal in a few countries. I believe in Poland and Israel, the swastika is illegal to show.
Apparently, in China, they actually call them monsters.
Yeah, China's very uptight about their superstitious belief, and they all. This is really funny. The 2016 Ghostbusters, they blamed for their $70 million loss on China, because they said, well, in China, we couldn't breach all the markets because they're anti-superstitious. So they were blaming China for all their loss of money.
Because there's not 200 other countries that you could sell it to.
I mean, it may or may not be true to some extent, but the thing is, nobody liked the movie. If you look at their ratings on like Rotten Tomatoes, it's like 30% approval. Like, it's terrible.
But other than that, though, well, I can't say I have high hopes for movies these days. I just, hope that I'm going to say, is it bad enough that I have to say that Ghostbusters even deserves to be great again?
Look, if you bring back the original sort of cast, at least for the surviving ones, rest in peace. But if they bring that back and they try to do a good, great. However, if they try to SJW this thing up and send political messages, they're just going to get my middle finger.
And this is what I'm saying. I think people are so sick of this SJW type of political correctness nonsense, and movies like this, perhaps if they're trying to fight back against it, hopefully, and they don't
and
get
they should.
infiltrated.
And on that
Well-
same broader topic, that this is basically even they're sick of companies getting into the woke drain as well.
Also,
Yeah,
haven't we also talked about in like a podcast, one of the podcasts, the past podcasts about like Doom? Demon is an offensive term. We should go.
Yeah,
You call
it
them
was- it
multi
was
challenge.
Essentially, yeah, Doom shit posted, and then and then they, people got so triggered over it. But yeah,
Like I give a shit.
But it was so good the way they did it.
We need more of that. We definitely need more Doom.
but I
Yes.
think that's pretty much what we've got for our articles of discussion for the things. Live comments. Crystal Lava says, "Will they call it Spookbusters?" For the Chinese.
Jesus.
I mean, you know what? They did say they.
I
called it
live for
the-
the comments.
The Chinese also thought, they have to call it Monster, so Monster Busters. How does that?
It could make sense in Mandarin, but in English, it doesn't fly with me.
You're talking about overhauling the entire franchise where it's really not needed.
Exactly.
The first two movies did just fine. And I'm sure that whole thing they got going on in China, it's probably been like that forever.
Nah,
So
it's not. Never branding
Maybe.
necessary.
Yeah, that's really like the part of their cultural laws, to be honest. They've had this for quite some time. I believe several decades. They really don't want any kind of superstitious type of thing, and so Halloween is extremely censored there. They don't even have it. They ban all kinds of references to skulls or skeletons or ghosts or anything like that. So
then the
Ghostbusters,
first two
of
movies
course-
wouldn't have been sold over there, so
Yeah.
China not
No.
having access to it wouldn't have influenced the 2016 movie at all.
No,
Funny thing
no,
is, I mean, the funny thing is, I was gonna say is that even here in the Western world, we got soy boys trying to restrict us in the Halloween as well too, right?
That's a story for another time.
Oh, I got something for Halloween, so
Yeah, well, you may.
Besides, Halloween in 2019 is slowly approaching. Anyone has any bets how bad it's gonna go?
Dude, we got months and months to plan for something good for Halloween. Use that, yeah.
Suppose so.
But other than that, though, I think it's time we closed up. One at a time. Who's got a closing statement for this?
Hope you guys enjoyed this one.
News cycle and so forth. And just say hi to our viewers.
I hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as I did, and I look forward to the next one. So I'll see you guys next time, and until then.
All right.
hopefully we'll get you all a new giggle soon.
I swear the crusty one. So, other than that, Avira,
All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. I know I did. A lot of crazy stuff happened. Make sure to like and comment and subscribe and all of that nonsense. And I shall see you next week.
and of course, Cross. Got anything just to wrap up?
Well, I definitely appreciate you guys having me on. This was a lot of fun. My first ever podcast or live.
I
sort
mean,
of
I
thing.
was told from Avira you kind of listened to it. Like, what do you think?
I think a lot of what you guys talk about is stuff that needs to be talked about. I know I have other topics that I would eventually like to discuss. I mean that for a different time. And whether or not I agree with what you guys say or not, I go into the podcast with an open mind. I listen to everything. And at the end of the day, I draw my own conclusions and things like that. But obviously nothing negative because I'm here. If I didn't like you guys, I wouldn't be on this podcast. But yeah, I guess for a closing statement, kind of cliche, but just try not to be dicks to each other all the time. Like let's try and try and turn all this crap around that we're going through, amid this whole shutdown that's going on and everybody seemingly just wants to kill each other at a minute's notice.
Shutdown's closed for a little bit. I'm just gonna say, but Trump's got something in his sleeve, I'm sure. But anyway, thanks to all those who tuned in. Hope you enjoyed listening to it, as I did, just curating stuff for this cycle. Oh, that doesn't get old. But also, you can find all our other episodes here on YouTube, and also the audio versions on Podbean. iTunes, Google Play Store, and Stitcher, so you're never short of any platforms to find it on. This is us signing off for the week. See you next time. Farewell.
And until then.
Goodbye.
Bye.